captain, is it the brigade captain and the other?
Yeah.
They have a seat on our, on the KMK with the chiefs, and they have an input in everything that we're doing, and they do work. They do work with the chiefs in all the stuff that we're doing with this process.
They've added on to that question. They would like to know, and why don't we have all Mi'kmaq people at this head table?
Ooh. How come we don't have all Mi'kmaq people at the head table? Aklusie'w, let's go beat.
I have no idea.
So, is that something that should be looked at and to be addressed later, or is that, do I just say, you have an idea?
Well, no, you know, I guess you know what, there's, Eric is my associate, he's my associate negotiator, and he's been involved in, with representing Mi'kmaq people in court cases, and he's done a lot of work for Mi'kmaq organizations. He's been working for Mi'kmaq organizations, my God, for the last, must be 15, 20 years, and he's earned a lot of respect from the leadership of the Mi'kmaq community. And so he has been chosen to be the associate negotiator. So that's all I can say, you know, that I guess, you know, he's earned his right or whatever to be associate negotiator. I don't think the chiefs would put somebody there who they thought could not do the job. He's done a good job. So.
Thank you, Viola. Okay. Danny.
Danny Paul once again. There was a couple of issues that were brought forward about how we as people are going to define who we are. And recently the government just announced that they have all of a sudden 30,000 more Mi'kmaq in Newfoundland.
60.
That kind of bothers me. However, what I would like, and Eric, I think you're probably the best guy to attempt this question, because we have access to the national parks, as you have said earlier, and harvesting medicines and harvesting food and, you know, other resources in Winnemagee, to me, is important. That, along with education and the protection of education within our treaty, if in the event that myself or someone I may be with or may take to a park to either harvest medicine, food, resources, that they should see that they have to charge me for violating whatever rules and regulations they have there. And because there's only specific areas where certain medicines grow, and some of that area is included in, say, Fortress Lewisburg. And if I openly challenged this whole park process regulation, would KMK consider protecting me under the treaty with that? Because what I see is something I think we've always had access to prior to European contact and post-contact. And it's something that I believe in, that we have to protect, because if we don't think 7 generations forward about who we are and what we're doing here, there's nothing going to be left, because the whole ideology behind the British conquests has been nothing but dismal, a warfaring people. You know, they emptied out their prisons and they sent their most undesirable to here and to Australia. And when people tell me, especially government officials, that I have to sign a document stating that I'm a Canadian, to me that's the greatest insult to our nation. Because I am a sovereign, meanwhile person. I do not wish to be categorized as a Canadian. Because Canadians are immigrants and descendants of immigrants. It was founded here in Charlottetown, in Epigwet. Can we come up with some kind of documentation that would be recognized worldwide, stating that we're a nation and defining who we are as that nation?
We don't
Thank you.
need KMK to do that.
Thanks, Dan. To hit the last question first and then to get to the other ones, I know that the Grand Council has done a lot of work with international recognition. And a lot of that work led to the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, which is an excellent document that has really gone forward in trying to recognize the rights of peoples within countries like Canada. And I know over the past, they have looked at documentation. One of the things that I think will be a logical outcome of discussions is at the end of the day, as Viola indicated, being a Mi'kmaq is not being an Indian. Right now you have a status card. At the end of the day, being Mi'kmaq is being Mi'kmaq. And what point do the Mi'kmaq have the ability to create that documentation that says that? And I think you're right to bring up the Kalapu band in Newfoundland, because that is something to be concerned about. It is a band that currently has about, last reports I've heard, close to 30,000 members, about 50,000 more applying. And we know from the province of Nova Scotia, because of the gas tax exemption, that there are 6,000 at least who live in Nova Scotia. That's a dilemma. That has to be talked about, and that has to be worked on. Regarding the park, what I would say when it comes to the gatherings of medicines, come talk to us. We have worked out scenarios with people from the Acadia Band on accessing birch bark that's only available in Keji. If there are medicines that need to be made available in Lewisburg or the Highlands, absolutely. Talk to us. And shooting is the biggie, eh? I think the one thing I want to make clear is there was a discussion of rights and how rights work that was held earlier. In the cases, always remember that even when rights are recognized, the courts in Canada always put limitations on those rights. I don't do it. The Mi'kmaq don't do it. The courts do it. And what they indicate are things like conservation and public safety, and in the case of Aboriginal title, greater public interest, whatever that means, are limitations that they put on that. Now, a number of us, like you, Dan, think that there should be harvesting no matter where, especially if the resource would